Introducing the epic new Swift. Time to go swifting.
It's been over a fortnight since Rajasthan Royals last won. Such was their start to the season that it means they still find themselves in the top two, but they want to get that Q next to their name and they also want to assure a top two spot. Their next fixture sees them take on Punjab Kings in their alternate home at Guwahati, which becomes the 13th and final venue in play in IPL 2024. Let's build up to match number 65 on Maruti Suzuki Arena. Presents ESPNcricinfo Timeout, powered by JBL, with McClenaghan and Wasim Jaffer. Thank you for your time, gentlemen. Been a while since Rajasthan won. Imperative for them to get the win, even more so, considering that the only game after this is against KKR. You don't want to leave your fate that late.
Yeah, it's important to get back on that winning trail. You're absolutely right. Probably more so to take some momentum into the playoffs. I know there's a very slim chance of them missing now. It's a lot of things would have to go wrong, but you don't want to be into that playoffs where you have to play that eliminator. I think what they did at the start of the season, they deserve to be in that top one or two, but I think if they miss that top one or two, I think it'll be really hard for them to bounce back and get some momentum to take them through to the finals.
And it might be pressing on them, particularly given that something similar had happened last season, where they had such a great first half, but then eventually didn't even qualify for the playoffs.
Yeah, they would like to believe that that's not happening, because I think they played really well for the first 10 games to win 8 out of 10. But they just slipped up in the last 3 games. I thought they came very close to beating Sunrisers. They lost by 1 run. Even against Delhi, they looked like they were going to win when Sanju Samson was batting. And even in the last game, I thought they made a little bit of mistake by opting to bat first, which I thought was a mistake on that hot, humid day, because batting conditions got really better in the second half. So Sanju made a mistake there, but they are a good team. I expect them to bounce back and get back to winning ways.
What we do know is that life won't get any easier for the Royals. They are now without Jos Buttler, who has left for England duty. So the obvious question, how do they replace Buttler? I mean, I get it, you can't replace Buttler. But Tom Kohler-Cadmore seems like the straightforward swap. Is that the way to go?
Yeah, I would say so. I think that probably needs to be the play. I know he hasn't had the best 2024 in terms of his numbers, but before that, his overall stats in T20 cricket are very good. He's a dynamic player. He's another one of these English batsmen that can come out and hit you 50 off 24. He's very explosive. So you'd like to hope that they just put that one little switch in, but we've seen in previous games when Joss was out injured, they rejigged their whole order. So it'll be interesting to see what theory they come up with this time.
Not been in great form, as Mitch points out, and has never played in India. How big a factor is that?
It is quite a big factor, but the good thing is he's going to get a couple of games before the playoffs. So that's something which will ease him out, to the conditions. But he's played in UAE, he's played in Pakistan, so he's a little bit used to the subcontinent conditions. So he's been around, he's travelled the world in T20 leagues. The last year, which the stats showed that it hasn't been great. He had a very ordinary PSL, but he's a quality player. He can hit the ball. Obviously, missing Jos Buttler is a big thing. It's not easy to fill that big shoes, but he's somebody who's capable of doing that. If he gets going, he can give them that the start that they've been used to. So I feel it's like for like replacement, and obviously Hetmeyer, if he's fit, they definitely need him at that 6-7 number because they've been missing somebody to finish games in those crucial games.
Just for our own curiosity, is there any other way the Royals can go? I mean, we know this is a side not averse to even throwing Ashwin up as an opener. Dhruv Jurel has opened a little bit for Uttar Pradesh.
I don't think they should do that. There's a lot of things you can do. You can move Sanju Samson up. You can have Tanush Kotian as well.
Oh, yes.
But last time they did the same thing was because they didn't want to shuffle the batting order. They wanted Sanju to bat at 3. Dhruv Jorel, even in that game, batted at number 5. So they could have done that in that same game as well. So they didn't do that. So it's the obvious thing. And going into a playoffs, you don't want to try something which you haven't done. Tom Kohler-Cadmore is used to opening the batting. So just, keep it simple at such an important period of play.
And Dhruv showed in the last game against Chennai that he can come out and have some impact down the bottom of the order as well. So he's built some confidence there. When someone's built some confidence in a certain position, which is a key position, that finishing role, I think you've got to leave them in that slot.
Regardless of how they line up at the top, is there a case for Robman Powell to anyway feature in this game, given that relative lack of experience all of a sudden in this batting lineup?
I think so. I think there seems to be a massive reluctance to use him higher up the order. They seem to be keeping him down at that 6 or 7. But in the last game in particular, I felt like he could have probably been in that side and elevated up the order just to go out there and try and break the momentum that Chennai had built with their bowling unit. So I think he can still have a big impact to play for Rajasthan in this tournament.
Even more so if we are not sure of whether or not Shimron Hetmyer is ready to go again?
Yeah, I mean, if Shimron is not playing, you definitely need, one experienced player. But sometimes Rajasthan, kind of a mistake they make is they slot him down really late. He's a good enough player to bat at number 4 or 5. So you need to give them that many balls to, for him to become explosive in the end. He's not Shimron Hetmyer in that sense, because Shimron Hetmyer is explosive when he gets those 10, 12 balls, even though you want him to bat more. But Robman Powell, you can slot him at number 5 if needed to. So yeah, I feel he need to feature in that batting lineup.
All right, let's focus on Punjab Kings now. They too have their own English exodus. Chris Wokes had already left, Liam Livingston is gone, and they will be losing Sam Curran and Johnny Bairstow after this game. They're bidding to avoid that wooden spoon, which does matter when you find yourselves in that position. What is it that you want to see from Punjab in these last 2 games?
I guess you probably want to see someone like a Nathan Ellis probably feature. If they decided to not pick Rabada in the last game, they must be disappointed with his form, which surprises me. And I think they're going to have to, with Livingston gone, they're going to have to find another overseas player. And I think that's got to be Nathan Ellis. Give him a run, see what they've probably been missing in the season. But also, I'd like to see Harpreet Brar back. I couldn't understand why he was left out in the last game. We haven't heard any confirmation that there was a niggle. So I think he's been very, very good for them all season. Yes, in the last part of the season, he's lacked in the wicket-taking ability in that wicket column. But I think he's a high-quality player, and I'd like to see him get a couple more games.
Important games for a lot of the domestic players as well. Mitch brings up Harpreet Brar. So many others for whom potentially this is the last 2 chances of making themselves heard as retention arguments.
Yeah, without a doubt. Prab Simran is one, Jitesh Sharma is the other one, and obviously Harpreet Brar. He needs to come back. I mean, if there was a niggle and if he's fit, he needs to come in. I'm surprised he didn't play that game, and even Rabada for that matter. He bowled really well. So they got to get their act together, even though there's nothing much to play. But they could be the party spoiler, and obviously, like you've said, with big auction coming, the Indian domestic players want to put their stake in front of the owners.
Yeah. You'd like to see Jitesh Sharma get a score for his own confidence going forward, but also the fact that he's a guy that you could probably build your side around in the next auction, and you'd like to see some positive signs that he can continue with Punjab Kings in the future. So you want to see him get a score.
Correct. Give us a prediction. Will Rajasthan find a win?
I think so. I think Rajasthan is favourites to me.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, unanimous verdict then. Thank you, Mitch and Wasim. Rajasthan versus Punjab. It was the first fixture in Guwahati last season as well. Nathan Ellis, who hasn't got a game so far, was player of the match, 4 for 30 in a game where 197 beat 192.
Introducing the Epic New Swift. Time to go swifting.